I'm Bill Pasmore, Senior Vice President at the Center for Creative Leadership. CCL's mission is to advance the understanding, practice, and development of leadership for the benefit of society worldwide. With that in mind, we've developed this series on leadership, where I have the privilege of meeting with people who have distinguished themselves as outstanding leaders. We hope these interviews provide an opportunity to learn from these remarkable leaders about the challenges they faced, the accomplishments they've celebrated, and the factors that they believe have most contributed to their success.
We're here in Louisville, Kentucky with Kevin Nolan, who's the Chief Technical Officer for Haier and General Electric Appliances. Thanks for taking time to speak with us today on the subject of leadership. You've had an interesting career in leadership at GE and now at Haier, who acquired GE Appliances a few years ago. And now you work both sides of the ocean.
Yes.
So we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think the toughest transitions are when you're in a role and your peers become people that are working for you, and understanding relationships change, behaviors change, and your behavior needs to change. And I think typically others change their behavior a lot earlier because they understand the relationship. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to go back and think, you know, nothing's changed with me. Why would the relationship change?
Sure.
And you know, the camaraderie that we had and working together as his peers. So I think that that can become tough. Mm-hmm. And I think that can be a hard transition. And then also understanding your time, you know, what your role needs to be, and what you need to let others do and need to let others grow into. Really, I've almost had to take hobbies of, can I continue to keep current? Because it's very hard to manage someone if you don't understand the work. Yeah. And I think what's critical to anything is you need to know the work. Mm-hmm. You need to know what your expectations are. If your expectations aren't fair, people won't, you know, they just won't like working for you. Right. And so staying current with that and understanding of when you're assigning a task that, you know, or when you're asking a team to achieve something, you know, what's it going to take? Do they have the resources they need? Are you able to help them? I think being a good manager is about helping people succeed. Mm-hmm. But you have to understand what they're going through. Yeah, I think what's changing is how your style of leadership, how you have to work and how you have to work with employees. Because more and more I see employees, it's a choice, right? Where, you know, they're here because they want to be here. And how are you going to manage them? And I think it becomes more of being a coach, mm-hmm. and being a mentor, and your role as a manager is to help employees. So you have to help employees be successful these days. Where I think if you look at when I came up through GE in the early days, it was you're told something to do and you need to do what you said you were going to accomplish. And you would never go to your manager and ask for help, right? It's not what they're there for. Right. They're going to measure you on, mm-hmm. did you get the results that you said you were going to get. Mm-hmm. And things right now are more results oriented than I've ever seen them. It's more hyper competitive than it's ever been. And so it does become more about how do we help each other get to where we need to go. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talk much more about teamwork. I mean, that's all it is here, is about teamwork. How do we work cross-functionally? You know, the lines are blurred. Before, you could be an engineer and work on engineering. Right. And talk to engineers every day. We like talking to each other, right? We speak the same language. But now the days are gone, right? You got to talk to finance, you got to talk to HR, you're talking manufacturing, service, sales. I mean, it's a much more interesting, rich dialogue. But that's how you have to work. And I think as a manager, how do you encourage that kind of behavior? Yeah, I think the direction needs to be clear. Mm-hmm. Right. So, but you need to set the direction at a high enough level that people have flexibility of how to achieve it. So I think that's the trick that you have to really feather is you need to tell people, you know, what they need to get done. But if you ever start telling them how, then you've kind of just lost it. Because if you have a good team, they're going to surprise you on how. But what we need to achieve, the business results, I mean, we all have to be aligned on those kind of goals. But then how we achieve them and how we get it done, we should really talk and discuss and work together. So, I mean, if you look at, an appliance today versus even 10 years ago, it's a completely different animal. The amount of smarts in it, the connectivity, the way it needs to work, not only with our appliances, but it needs to hook into a system in your home that's changing and it's moving very quickly. And that is really changed and has blurred the lines of what an engineer is, how we work, how, IT and engineering, it's interesting. Where does IT fall in and where does engineering fall in? Where is the software? Software is now in the cloud, it's in the appliance. So it's really challenged us on, what is the role? Like if you look at the appliance now has a lot of smarts and analytics in it from a service standpoint. And where to service, how do you work with service differently? So I think that's the other thing is to understand organizationally, is your organization changing at this pace of the market and at the pace of the technology? And that's a hard one because there's different skill sets. IT has a lot of skills that are better now when you look at some of the products that are being developed than a typical traditional engineer. Right.
So you're going to be working with people you hadn't worked with in designing appliances before in quite that way, probably inside the company, but also in some cases outside of the company, right? Yeah. The innovations are happening in Silicon Valley that you've got to hurry up and incorporate, right?
Exactly. There's no longer can you sit by yourself and design a product. And I think it's functionally you can't do that, but even corporate-wise. I mean, there's nothing really that are done within your four walls. I mean, you have to work with the world. You have to work with suppliers, inventors, to really bring products that are going to make a difference consumers are going to love. So we've moved more and more towards how do we do this kind of open collaboration model. It questions IP. I think a lot of people, when they see some of the things we're doing, we've got an open innovation area called First Build, which is open to the public. The public's involved with us developing new appliances. We have a micro factory where we put them in the market incredibly fast. And everyone, first thing they walk in, because it's open, anyone can come in and see exactly what we're doing. So it's what are you doing with IP? And you have to really rethink these things because what was true 20 years ago with IP, I'd argue IP is not serving the purpose that we think many times. Is it slowing down the pace of innovation? Is it slowing down how we're bringing products to market? And then, so what do you have to do different? How do you have to treat that?
So how do you manage that? Do you bother with patents, or do you simply say that it's just going to slow us down?
Well, you got to be, again, you can't, I don't think it's black and white anymore. I think there's certain things that are true company assets you need to protect, and IP is a very good way to protect it. But there's other things that are more about moving fast and getting into the market. And speed, I think, is becoming in our day today, speed is your protection more than patents.
That's a great way to put it. Well, thank you. This has been really educational for me. I've enjoyed our time together.
Thank you.
I can see why people put you in the role that you're in.
No, thank you very much. Enjoyed the discussion.
Thank you very much.